Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, friends. Welcome to our weekly webinar. My name is Tolu Adeosho, and I'm the host of this webinar. I'm also an assistant secretary of Voice of Men 360. And another thing I do is I am a registered social worker. It's my great pleasure to host this weekly webinar. Thank you, Voice of Men 360 and the team for giving me this opportunity. Every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have webinars where we bring experts from different fields to discuss on particular topics. The goal is to create awareness by sharing valuable information within our communities we believe will be useful in some way to others. Before I introduce our special guest today, I want to give you a brief introduction about Voice of Men. Voice of Men 360 is a nonprofit organization founded in 2020 and is based in Toronto, Canada. Voice of Men 360 organization was born out of seeing the tremendous needs of boys and men, so it stepped up to support and help them in many areas of their lives. We are part of International Men's Day, which is a global organization. International Men's Day follows 6 pillars, which is about the overall well-being of boys and men. International Men's Day has been around for 21 years and in nearly 90 countries around the world. These countries have joined together to do various activities regularly. So the topic for today's webinar is the integrated masculine at home and at work. And our special guest will be exploring the archetypes of the mature masculine, lover, king, warrior, magician. What do they look like in the workplace? A word on the king archetype, power, presence, and poise, and how to be an integrated man in the workplace, both as a worker and as a leader. So today, our special guest is Dr. Camille Neyhouser. I hope I pronounced that right. I've been trying.
I realized that there's a lot of things we could be doing better in the workplace, in businesses and organizations, all organization types really, to make them happier places, to make them places where people come with full motivation and where they can be in their highest, achieve their highest potential. So that's that's what took me from who I was as a child to who I am now. And I was also telling you that, so I'm passionate about organization, and I also love men, and I love working with men. And I'm very fortunate that in what I'm doing at the moment, I can merge both. So work with men in the workplace, men as workers, as leaders, as well. Yes.
Oh, wonderful. So my understanding is your mother influenced a lot of what you did earlier on in your career in terms of working with NGOs and everything. And then I think as you started to work in the workplace, you met men and you realized that, hey, there's more potential to them and they can be better. Correct?
Yes.
Just
Yes.
making
Yes,
sure.
and often also because men are in leading positions.
Mm.
If we help them becoming the best leaders they can be, it has a positive effect on the whole structure, the whole organization.
Awesome. So I do believe you have a presentation for us today to kind of help us to delve more into the subject matter.
Yes.
So you can take it away. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I have a short presentation with some visuals because I love visuals. So if we can show the first slide, please. I don't know who will do that. Great. Perfect. Thank you, Sivam. So I will start. So I'm going to explain briefly the methodology and I use and what this methodology does. So it is based on identifying and releasing our unconscious thoughts and our limiting beliefs. The more limiting beliefs we release, the closer we get to the truth of who we really are. And that is what I call, for men, the integrated or the mature masculine. So the methodology I use is based on power archetypes. And there is a book by that you may know called King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, Rediscovering the Archetypes of the Mature Masculine. And it's a book written by Robert Moore and Douglas Gillett. So just in a nutshell, archetypes, they are a symbolic or general description of a set of human traits that are universal to humanity. They are used to describe recurrent characteristics and behaviors that people display. And we find them very commonly in myths, in fairy tales, in movies, the media, artwork, and so on. There are many different archetypes, and some of the most common examples of them are, and I put some of them on the screen, the hero, the villain, the queen, the king, the mother, the father, the adventurer. And I'm sure that when I say these words, you immediately get a mental image. Maybe you remember a character from a movie or from a book, or maybe you think about someone who you know in your actual life or that you've seen in the media. So in the methodology I use, I focus on 4 archetypes, and these are, as I said, the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. And these are the archetypes we display or we embody when we are in our full power. The more time a person, here we are talking about men, so I'm going to make it specific to men. So the more time a man spends inhabiting these archetypes, the more integrated he is. And that's why Robert Moore and Douglas Gillett talk about the archetypes of the mature masculine. Okay, next next slide, please. So the first archetype that I'm going to talk about is the lover. And the lover is the archetypes that embodies value, worth, self-respect, self-love, also a sense of sacrifice for our values and for what we really believe in. And when this archetype is embodied, the person who embodies it displays full self-expression, charisma, an ability to speak clearly and directly, an ability to speak tell the truth and speak the truth as it is. It's also someone who knows their value, who knows their worth, and who is not afraid of other people's judgments. Next slide, please. Now, when there are a lot of limiting beliefs present, I guess the other side of that archetype is the always feels alone and lonely, and asks why me, can also not very strong, and that can be in the physical aspect as well. So like I said, health issues. So but I think when I talk about the victim, I think everyone probably knows what I mean. Next slide, please. The magician. So the magician is the archetype who takes the creation of the or the actions of the warrior and sprinkles magic on it. So that's when things get to the next level, when they are set on fire, when they are implemented at scale. So these are the people who are extremely good at networking, who just see all the connections and make the most of them. And the magician is witty, is grounded, believes and trusts their intuition as well. Doesn't need to see all the facts to take action. Goes on their gut feel. Next slide, please. So the other side of the magician in fear, the powerless archetype, is the saboteur. So as you can see from the picture, is someone who just sabotages themselves, very in their head, gets stuck, procrastinates, structures. I was talking about building, about making things happen in 3D. So it will be the chief operations officer, the technology officer, the information officer, and that kind of roles. And then lastly, the magician. So the next column to the right, like I said, is the networkers, the people who take things to scale. So the marketing people, the communications people, the sales people, the chief strategy officer as well. How do we make more, or how do we make the most of what we have? And the chief knowledge officer as well, because knowledge is power, and knowledge, we were talking about that with Tolu just before the show started. Knowledge is a way to make things, to 10x things, really, I mean, especially in the age of information and of knowledge that we are in, it's what is going to make your organization grow and thrive. So that's what I have for my presentation.
Oh. the sovereign king and the child. But it's recognizing, okay, I'm struggling right now. I don't want to stay in this poor me victim mentality. I need to move back to the real me, the me I can be, and not getting stuck there.
Yes, exactly.
Correct?
Exactly. Okay. Yes. And it's going to look different for everyone, but a lot of the time it's about listening to ourselves. What is it keeping me stuck right now? And listening to that inner voice, and that inner voice is very powerful, and that inner voice is going to say, but this is what's happening. So it's about tuning in to.
How do you propose people can do that? Because I know I can tell you my answer to that question, but what would be your answer to how people can listen to their inner voice and tune in? Men, especially men.
Yes. When I work with clients, the way I tell them to do it is ask yourself a question. And the first thing that comes to your head, not the second, not the third, the first thing that comes to your head is the answer.